Hi, I'm Amelia and welcome to my channel Sew Amelia, where I talk all about making a handmade wardrobe for me and my children. Welcome to this week's video, in which I'm going to share all of the things that I made in April. Thank you so much for watching today, and to those of you who have been following me over the last month or so, or longer, I hope you enjoyed the videos that I shared whilst I was on holiday with my family. We had a much anticipated return to my home country of New Zealand with the children and my husband, and it was just so wonderful to be able to spend time with my family and just to see all of my old favourite places with my children. We had a wonderful time away and have arrived back in London feeling very much refreshed and ready to take on the summer term. So we were in New Zealand for quite a long time over the Easter break, and so I did manage to get a little bit of sewing time in the evenings once the children were in bed and we were just hanging out as a family, and I just had the sewing machine out and was doing bits and pieces here and there, which was just so lovely. My mother is a sewist as well, and so she had her old machine ready for me to use, which was lots of fun to talk about patterns and sewing and things with her. So whilst I was there, the first project that I worked on was the Winslow Culottes by Helen's Closet Patterns. This is a pattern I've been wanting to make for a long time. I do love a high-waisted trouser, and a culotte I think is just so comfortable. So this pattern is a wide-legged shorts or culottes or palazzo trouser pattern. It has 4 different lengths, which is great, and it has inseam pockets and a fitted waistband with a zip at the back. Now there is a hack on the Helen's Closet website. If you don't prefer a fitted waistband, there is an option to make it elasticated. Personally, I find a fitted waistband is more comfortable, and so that's what I decided to go with, was the original pattern with the fitted waistband and the invisible zip. Now this also has inverted box pleats at the front, which were really good fun to sew, and it comes in sizes 0 to 34, so a waist of 24 inches to a waist of 52 inches. Now I do fall across 2 different sizes in Helen's Closet patterns between my waist and my hip measurements, but because of the culottes having quite a wide fit at the hip, the pattern does suggest that you go with your waist measurement. So I did decide to make a size 12 in this pattern, which worked beautifully. The fit of these is perfect. So here are the ones that I decided to make. Now you're not going to be able to see very much at all when I hold these up, because I did use a lovely black viscose linen that was kindly gifted to me by Fabric Zone UK. It was a really lovely fabric to work with. I know that I love wearing and working with viscose linen, as I have sewn with it before, and I think it works really beautifully for these culottes. It is light to wear in the heat, and it has a lovely drape to it and movement, which works so well with the wide leg of these culottes. I really enjoyed wearing this on holiday, and I can see myself wearing it a lot more now we're back in the UK, perhaps at the moment with long sleeve tops underneath, but I'm sure as we come into the warmer weather I'll be able to wear it with t-shirts and perhaps a few blouses as well. I really enjoyed making this pattern. It came together remarkably quickly actually. The inverted box pleats were very straightforward, the instructions were fantastic. Probably the most complicated part was putting in the invisible zip, but that's actually a process that I quite enjoy. Odd as that may sound, I do enjoy putting in an invisible zip, and I really like the way that that looks in the waistband, as it just does give quite a seamless finish. So those are fantastically comfortable to wear, definitely secret pyjamas. I'm very pleased with the fit, and I would definitely make another pair of these. I'm just going to see how I go with them in my summer wardrobe this year, and I may well add another pair to my wardrobe next summer. But for now, I'm going to really enjoy wearing these Helen's Closet Winslow culottes. Now the next item of clothing that I made was this Vetiver top by French Navy. When I saw this pattern released, I knew it was one I wanted to make. I love a princess seam, and this blouse has beautiful princess seams down the front. I love a ruffle, and this blouse has a ruffle at the bottom. I really do like cropped lengthed tops, and this has a cropped length. Don't worry, it does also come with a different view which doesn't have the ruffle down the bottom and is longer. So if that's your preference, this blouse has you covered there as well. I really like the simple short sleeves of this pattern. I think they work really well with the style lines, and I really love this round neckline and the narrow button stand. I just think it gives a real elegance to this blouse, and again it's a pattern that I really enjoyed making. The pattern instructions are very specific and detailed. They talk you through how to put French seams in everywhere, and as I was working on a machine and I didn't have my overlocker with me, I think it was really, really great to be able to make this with French seams. It doesn't talk you through about how to do the French seams on the sleeves, but that's a process that I do quite often anyway, particularly with my daughter's dresses. So I did decide to French seam the sleeves in as well, just to make sure that the insides were really neat as well as the outsides. Now, the Vetiver top doesn't come in a hugely expensive size range. It comes in sizes A to H, so that's a bust of 32 inches up to a bust of 43¼ inches. I made size C, which on the pattern measurements says that it's for a bust of 35 inches, waist of 28 inches, and hips of 37½ inches. Now those measurements are definitely smaller than mine, particularly on the hips. However, because this is a cropped blouse, I wasn't particularly worried about the hip measurements. But the finished measurements for the size C were actually a bust of 38 3/8 inches and a waist of 37½ inches. So that still gave me about 5 inches of ease across my waist and about 2 inches across my bust. So I was fine with that, as I didn't want it to be too voluminous. I like my blouses to be slightly more fitted. So I'm really pleased I went with a size C. There's still plenty of room for me to move about. I was a bit worried about these sleeves and whether I would have enough room, but I do. Perhaps next time I make it, I might deepen the arm side by about ½ inch just for a bit of added ease, but as it is, it's absolutely fine. And I've really, really enjoyed wearing this one over some of my jeans and also with the Winslow Culottes. So I decided to make it in this Lady McElroy cotton lawn. I picked this up as a remnant a long time ago. I can't remember where I got it from, but if I can find it somewhere, I will link it below. I just think it's such a fun print, and I really enjoyed, again, pulling this out of my remnants and getting it used up and into a garment that I'm really, really excited to wear this spring and summer. The buttons that I used were very, very kindly gifted to me by Louise from Ethel and Joan at the Stitch Festival when I went there earlier this year. They are from her new collection and they're absolutely stunning. They have a very light sheen to them, and I just think they work really well with the print of this blouse. So this was my Vetiver top by French Navy. I really, really want to make this one again. It's so comfortable and easy to wear, and I can see it going so well with my spring and summer wardrobe, so it's definitely a pattern that I am planning to make again over the next couple of months. Now, the final thing I made for myself in the month of April was the Holmen dress by the Uncut project. Now, the girls from the Uncut project contacted me to ask if I would like to sew up their new pattern, and I jumped at the opportunity. I've been seeing this style of dress in so many different places, and it's one that really appeals to me. It looks like so much fun to make and to wear. And so when I did see this pattern pop up, I knew it was one I would love to make for the summer. Now, the Holmen dress has a short top bodice piece that ties in the back with very thin straps, and then there's a gathered bodice piece which falls from the bust and another gathered skirt tier, and it has a very deep back that's gathered as well. The process of sewing this was absolutely fascinating. I really enjoyed learning the new techniques and piecing this all together. It was quite like a jigsaw puzzle. I had to really concentrate on this one, but it was great fun to put together, and I love the end result. Now, this pattern comes from size 34 to 46, and that's a bust of 31.5 inches to 41 inches. So not an extensive size range yet. I made size 40, which is for a 36-inch bust, which is perfect. Those are my measurements, and that's what it tells you to go off. Because the gathered tiers are so loose and flowy, it's fine to go off your bust measurement, and then you can adjust the ties in the back as you wish. Now, they suggest making it from a lightweight or medium woven fabric, which I think is really important because this dress does need a lot of drape and movement to help it to really show off the style lines of the pattern. I'll show you the dress since I'm talking so much about it. Here it is. So this is where the little bodice piece gathers into the next tier, and if I turn it around, you'll see the gorgeous back detail. So here it is tied in the back, this bodice piece, and then you can see the deep gathered piece here at the back. Now, I'm sure it's not everyone's style, but I was really, really keen to give it a try, and I think it will work really well in the summer. I'm keen to try it as well in the spring, layered over a t-shirt or a bodysuit, or even perhaps over a white turtleneck. I think it would look quite fun layered up that way as well. The one thing with this dress is that you cannot really wear a bra with it. So if that's your preference, then this may not be the pattern for you, although I have seen the Uncut project are working on making a built-in bralette for this pattern, which would be fantastic and make it available to a wider audience perhaps. But it is actually fine to wear without a bra. It was very, very comfortable when I wore it for one of our beach days at home in New Zealand on holiday. Now, when I was in New Zealand, something that I really wanted to do was to visit the fabric store and have a look at their beautiful linen fabrics. And I couldn't resist picking this linen up. It's their guava colour and it is just so soft and lovely to work with and to wear. So this is going to be such a beautiful piece to wear in the summer months when it's really hot. And again, like I say, I'm sure I could layer it up with a t-shirt or a bodysuit and I think it would work equally well in slightly cooler weather. So I really, really enjoyed making this one. It was a lot of fun to sew up. I loved working with the linen and I'm really looking forward to wearing this more in the hotter weather. Now, the next dress that I made was one that I made for my daughter. And what I'll do is I'll pop in a little bit of footage that I took in New Zealand talking about my heritage, I suppose, that I have that's been passed down of sewing. My grandmother used to sew for my mother sewed for me, and now I'm sewing for my daughter. That's just something that I find really special, and so I'm going to share a little bit about that now. If you would prefer not to see that, that's fine too. Please do just skip on and I'll pop the chapters down below in the description box to allow you to skip forward if this isn't really your thing. So while I'm here in New Zealand, I thought I would just share a little bit with you of really something that's quite special to me, and that is the wonderful women that have gone before me and my family who were also sewists. So we have a family tradition of sewing for ourselves and for our children, which is just something that's very, very special. So I wanted to share that with you today. So it's a bit of a story time. So if you want to skip to the next part of the video, please do feel free. But I just thought I would share this with you, seeing as I'm here in New Zealand and I have these dresses at my disposal. So my lovely grandmother used to sew for my mother. In fact, my mother is a twin, so she used to sew 2 of every dress so that the girls would match. And I have a couple of those to show you today, both handmade by my grandmother. So one is this stunning green number with this lace here down the seams, and it's a dress. I'll try to pop in pictures as well. So it's such a pretty, pretty green velvet dress with a little bow and covered buttons, all handmade, which is just so special. And then the other one, which is stunning, is this blue dress here. Now it's actually 2 layers. There's this light layer on the top of this sheer chiffon type fabric maybe, and then there is also the petticoat underneath this blue fabric here. I'm not sure exactly what the fabric is. And on the back are some hand sewn buttonholes and beautiful little buttons. Now what I find so fascinating is the construction of this dress. There's this tie that ties in the front here, and then this panel almost seems to be one complete panel down the front, and then the gathered skirt is sort of attached at the sides. So I would really love to recreate this dress. Before I leave, I'm going to see if I can have a go at tracing out the pattern of this dress, and I'll certainly take a whole bunch of photographs to help me when I'm back in London. And I would love to try and make my daughter a dress a little bit like this one. Just because of the heritage in our family, I really love looking back on family heritage and family traditions. It's something that's really important to me, and I would love to recreate this dress that my grandmother made for my mother for my daughter. So then, building on that heritage and that tradition, my mother used to sew dresses for me and my sister. So I've picked out a couple to share. These are 2 little matching dresses. This was my sister's and this one was mine, with the most beautiful smocking details. I just loved wearing this dress. Beautiful, beautiful fabric and a gorgeous smocking plate that I think my mother came up with herself. Amazing sewist. So that was the dress for me, and then my sister had a little matching dress to go with it. So that's where I think my love of smocking came from, was wearing all these smocked dresses as a little girl. So that was one set of dresses. And then this pair, which I adore, and I think it's such a lovely design. So there's this beautiful pink collar, there are pin tucks down the center here, and then this gorgeous smocked dropped waist here, just where the ties are around the waist. Such a lovely pattern and a design. I think it's so much fun, and just a little bit different from other smocked dresses that I've seen. So I'd love to recreate something like this for my daughter as well, as she gets a bit older. That was also a matching pair. There was a smaller dress for my sister. And then the last matching set that I'll show you is a beautiful long sleeved dress. I remember wearing this and absolutely loving it. It's made of a brushed cotton, and I remember it being quite snuggly and warm in the winter. I love this navy blue cover. It's got very soft little flowers on it, and then this beautiful smocking at the top, matching collar, and then these lovely long sleeves with just elastic at the cuffs. And that was my sister's one, and then I had a matching bigger version of the same dress. So yes, just a quick story time there for you with those very special dresses. I can't wait till my daughter gets a little bit bigger and she'll fit into some of those and hopefully wear them herself. And I think that's where my love of making dresses for my daughter comes from. And I just find it really special looking back on that tradition of making for your children, and just that that's passed on. So I hope one day maybe my daughter will be interested in learning to sew from me. Maybe one day very far in the future she might sew for her own children. There's just something very special about wearing something that's made with love and that gets passed down through the generations. So looking forward to my daughter wearing those dresses my mother made for me. And I'm looking forward to hopefully passing my daughter's dresses on to a granddaughter one day in the future, very far away. I hope you enjoyed that little look into my family's traditions, and I'll let you get back to the video. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that little bit of footage. I just loved seeing those dresses that my grandmother had made for my mum, and also seeing the photos of my mother in those dresses was really special. I am going to try and recreate one of those dresses for my daughter, so do keep an eye out for that video later on this year. But here it is. Here is the dress that I did make for her Easter dress this year. It is the Lee dress by Children's Corner Patterns. It is a dress I've made many times before. I absolutely love this pattern. I love the Peter Pan collar, the simple puffed sleeves. There's a lovely waist tie to just bring that in around the back, and it fastens down the back with just 4 buttons. Now this time I decided to bring out the blues in this Liberty cotton lawn by using this light blue for the smocking detail, and then I just echoed that with piping on the collar, the cuffs of the sleeves, and then on the bodice piece at the back. I just thought that added a really nice detail, and when I found shoes that were that same colour to match the dress, I couldn't resist those either. So she had a proper little outfit in this dress for Easter. As we were going to New Zealand to be with family for Easter, I thought it was nice to just have something really special for her to wear for Easter. This is a dress that I just love to sew. I find the smocking is really mindful. I really enjoy that process of smocking dresses, and I just love that full gathered skirt. And I really like traditional dresses on little children. I think they look really sweet and classic, and as long as she will wear them, I'm going to keep sewing them for her. So that was her Easter dress. The next one I'll probably make for her is a dress perhaps for her birthday or for Christmas, depending on how much time that I have. I do like making her special dresses for those special occasions in her life. Now the final dress I made this month wasn't one that I'd planned to make, but I couldn't help but whip this one up quickly. I really dislike having remnants of fabric lying around, especially from beautiful fabrics like the linen that I worked with on my Holmen dress and the Liberty that I worked with on my daughter's Easter dress. Amazingly, those two fabrics seemed to work beautifully together. So the remnants that I had left over from both of those dresses, I put together to make this sweet little dress for my daughter. It's called the Festival Dress by Tadah Patterns. It's a fantastic pattern that has a multitude of different options. There's this V-necked bodice with the splice here. It comes with a curved splice as well. It comes with a plain bodice. It comes with ruffle sleeves. And then on the back, you can see here I've made it with the little bias bow. It comes with a plain bow as well that you can just sew onto you probably make it from the pink fabric. It comes with button here, or you can make a modesty back that comes down a little bit further with some poppers or buttons. It's got this little elastic casing here just for comfort, and you can make it with a gathered skirt, you can make it with a tiered skirt, or as I've chosen to do for this one, you can make it with a full circle skirt, which I just thought looked really pretty in this linen. That came together so quickly. It is a lovely design. I love the way that the bodice, you can see there, is lined. I chose to line it with the Liberty cotton here, just to echo the Liberty here. And then just for a bit of a feature, I decided to use the Liberty for the casing here and the bias binding. So it was really lovely to get those fabrics used up in such a fun way, and I do think she's going to get a lot of wear out of that over the summer. Additionally, that would be very easy to layer up over a little bodysuit, short sleeve bodysuit, or even a long sleeve bodysuit. So I think that will get a lot of wear even if we don't have really terrifically hot weather in the summer, though I'm hoping we will. So that is the Festival Dress by Tadah Patterns. Like a lot of the children's patterns I buy, I do try to buy them with a large size range, and that one again is no exception. It comes in sizes 1-year-old to 12-year-old, and I made that in a size 3. She's 2.5 now, and that fits her really beautifully, so it is pretty true to size. I usually do size up for my children's clothing, just so that I know they've got that bit much more wear out of them. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing those things that I made in April, just a few things this month, and they were such lovely ones to sew. I'm really enjoying wearing them, and particularly the culottes and the blouse have become really integral parts of my handmade wardrobe, and I'm finding myself reaching for them a lot. If you did enjoy today's video, I would so appreciate it if you would leave a like, and if you would like to, do add a comment below. If you have enjoyed watching today's video or others that you've watched in the past and you haven't yet subscribed, I would so appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll be made aware of when I publish future videos. Do come back next week when I share my plans for what I want to sew in May. And in the meantime, I hope you have a lovely week filled with happy sewing, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye!